What is up, Everyday Athlete Podcast Network listeners? Welcome to our weekly show, the Fireside Chat. I have a fantastic guest, April Pullins, who is the founder and owner of Be Light Compression Socks. Will be joining here in a moment. I want to give you a brief intro to April because I found out about her through Melanin MVP, who is the podcast and the platform itself is run by Angela Hollowell, who you know very well from us sharing her podcasts here on our network and her being a guest on our network. Love Angela, love the conversation that April and Angela had. And so I wanted to have her on, and it's taken some time for us to connect and bring her on. And in the time, I will tell you, her posts on Instagram, there is always a smile and there's always a lesson. So make sure that you check out her platform. The Instagram page will be in the show notes, so make sure you check that out. While I have you here and before I bring her on to the show, please remember to subscribe, rate, review, and comment on this episode and the network in and of itself, because while, yes, it helps us get elevated into the algorithm on all the podcast platforms, and I want these shows to be heard, a big part of it is I love talking to you folks. Like, we have a post up right now about a San Francisco Marathon fit that's got 350 comments on it, and it's just enjoyable to have conversations. So do me a favor, comment on the podcast episode when you hear it on your favorite podcast platform, and know that I am the one who's going to be responding to you. So without any further ado, come join us in the coffee shop as April and I chat, and you can listen in on the conversation. My friend, how are you today?
I'm fantastic today.
For those of you who are listening on the podcast network, so you've got audio, press pause, go to YouTube, put on the video so that you can see this powerful image that is over April's right shoulder. When we were in the green room, she wanted to take it down, and I said, no, please don't take it down, because I think it lends a lot of commentary to who you are as a person. So I'm going to ask you one question, and then we're going to talk about that picture. Who is April Pullins?
Such a loaded question. I
It
think
absolutely is.
when anybody asks that question, it's like, well, who am I? Where do we start? I am an educator. I'm a business owner. I'm a mom, and I'm a runner. But I think really I love people. That's the heart of who I am. Um, I like watching people. I like serving people. And yeah, that's just who I am.
So, in the introduction, I said you give us a lesson and you give us a smile with every single post you put up. And I think that talks very much about what you just said about loving people and wanting to be around people and talking to people. Like, those are connected. Here's the follow up to that. The first thing you said was you're an educator, then you said entrepreneur, then you said mom, and then you said runner. And I cannot tell you how much I love that, April, because we are people who run. We aren't runners who people. And so I love the idea that you came out with I'm an educator first, and then, entrepreneur, mom. It could have been mom, entrepreneur, educator, whatever combination that was, and then runner
Yeah.
afterwards. And so why do you think you led with those three descriptions before runner?
Man, that's heavy because that is, I've been thinking about this a lot lately and I've been watching your post as well. Right now, we're in a phase in the running space. I feel that there's so many, there's excited people, right? There's excitement going on around running right now. But I also feel that there is the surface level to running. And I was that person 6 years ago when I started running where everything was about running. I had to let you know I just ran 5 miles. I had to post in every group. I had to make a name for myself that I was a runner. And I find myself currently really rejecting what I'm seeing out in social media because, like you said, I love to run, but I'm not a runner first. I'm a human and I run. And running gives me peace. It gives me the ability to grieve on the pavement. It gives me so much, and I'm so grateful for it. But I don't really like what's happening in social media right now.
I'm gonna touch the third rail in a way, and I hope you're open to this conversation. We are both BIPOC athletes. You far more visible than I am. You are a black woman. I am a Puerto Rican male, and my complexion does not say Puerto Rican out of the gate. And I know that that grants me privileges
Hmm.
that people who have melanin in their skin are not granted. And
Yeah.
so I wonder if our positions on we are people who run and not runners who people is driven by that based on what is happening in society as a whole today,
Mm.
right? We have an occupant in the White House today who is consistently um, bashing and negatively speaking to women,
Yeah.
especially women of color.
Yes.
And so I wonder if it's that we see that and we know that that's far more important than running. That if we stopped running tomorrow, life is still going to go on, but we have to end this misogyny. We have to end this racism. Like, I wonder if that's why our feelings are different than
Yeah.
what you're talking about seeing on the surface level of social media.
It's heavy right now. Everybody can attest that this is a very uncomfortable time. It's unprecedented times. But I also, on the flip side of it, it gives us a place to go and just go la 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 la, right? Go vote.
Right.
But I cannot deal with the amount of clownish, just ruthlessness that comes across my page. So I'm gonna go run.
Hmm.
And no, I don't want to talk about him today. And no, I want to hear what foolish thing that happened today. So I'm going to go to run. But I absolutely agree with you.
So I referenced the picture over your right shoulder, and you showed me another painting that you have in your house that you purchased recently. And I wanted you to keep it here because it is a very powerful image, and so is the other one that you showed. When you walked into the store to purchase whatever it was you were purchasing, I presume you weren't looking for this image.
That
Um,
was,
what was the feeling when you saw this staring back at you?
oh my gosh, I have three of these, and they're three different women. One she actually looks like she is someone from Puerto Rico. She has these
Okay.
beautiful flowers on her headband. But each of them, when I looked at them, their eyes just told a story. And it was, I'm beautiful. It was, I'm not often seen as beautiful. There's this young lady she comes up on my feed. She lives in China. She's a black young woman and she speaks amazing Mandarin. And she talks about how it's being black in China. And she's curvy, like black women sometimes are. And it's always a spectacle. It's always talked about. And anywhere I think a woman of color goes, there's always something. So even in the running space, I have a race that's coming up at the end of this month in Montana. Guess what I'm thinking about? How many
Oh, I
black
can
people?
only imagine. Yep.
Yeah. Will it be comfortable? Will I get looks? Where am I going to stay at? Is all of these things.
I think we tend to forget about the walk a mile in my shoes cliche. And if somebody would be able to walk a mile in your shoes, they would understand that thinking, right? Because there are going to be hundreds, if not thousands, of people that hear this episode and say, what is she worried about? Right? It's safe. It's Montana. It's not. And you'll have to forgive me. I get really excited about this when people talk about crime in New York City as if it's, the seventh level of doom. Like, it's not crime like Manhattan is. And it's like, no, but you have to understand that April is not from that space. And if you
Hmm.
go to a new town or a new city or a new state, even as a white person, you are uncomfortable. I know you don't want to admit it because you
Right.
just don't know the space. And now you are black in this space.
For sure. For sure. And I think when I have conversations with people who aren't even open, they don't see it, they don't understand it. And I get it. You don't ever have to deal with this, but listen and hear me, right? When I
Right.
go into a space, it is not is somebody going to try to take a gun to my head in Montana. I don't think that that's going to happen, but are people going to be welcoming to me? Am I going to, oftentimes when I go to races, I say, I collect stories. So I'm talking
Yeah.
to people, hey, how's it going? How long you been running? Just to kind of get past the 13 miles. And are they going to be friendly to me? Are they, all of these things. It's just something that I've lived through that I'm always acutely aware of it.
So, how did you find this race in Montana, and why did you register for this race in Montana, knowing that there's, not hesitancy, but there's an added layer of
Yeah.
stress and anxiety that comes with a trip like this?
I love going out of the state. Like, I enjoy running out of the state. My husband works for Delta, so we get the privilege of flying for free. So any opportunity that I can go anywhere, even though I have those added things being a Black woman, I'm like, I'm there. And like my brand says, I'm going to be a light, right? Even if you choose to ignore me or, you don't know how to deal with me, I'm always going to show up and I'm always going to give you what I want. And so Montana came up. It's always Facebook Facebook groups. Somebody's always talking about, oh, I ran this race and it was beautiful. And I'm like, I've never been to Montana. I hear it's beautiful. And the one reason why that I have always wanted to go to Montana, not necessarily for a race, the Kardashians
No
had
way.
for real. They had something and they were filming, and I was like, this is gorgeous. Now, adding a trail race that I don't run, that I will be running, and then elevation, I'm a little nervous about it.
Yeah.
I'm a
Wait,
little
I got
nervous.
it. So for those of you who are not connecting the dots yet, April, and I'm going to label you myself, and you can disagree with me if I'm wrong. You're a risk taker because you're an entrepreneur, because you're going to a place that you know nothing about, because you're running a trail that you don't ever do. Like, you're a risk taker,
Yeah,
right? Am I wrong?
absolutely. I mean, what? I mean, why not?
Yes. Like, how else are you? Like, here's a mantra we have in our house, and it's something that I convey to the leadership team for Run Try Bike. It's always take risks and bet on yourself. Because if you don't take a risk and bet on yourself, then all you're ever going to do is wish that you had taken the risk and bet on yourself. And
And I,
instead of wishing,
yeah.
right? So I'm going to go to the entrepreneur side here for a second because I do want to touch on the mom um,
Mhm.
description you gave earlier. But how long have you owned and run Be Like Compression, and what was the catalyst to get it started?
It's been 4 years, and it's so wild. And I'm going to be very transparent with you. It's all me. When you start a business, our company, Be Like Compression, is a compression sock company, and we sell socks that are encouraging for people to get up and get active and get moving. So they will have something like "Keep Going" or um, "She is Strong" or something on there, so that you can look at your socks and go, "Okay, I am strong." And the catalyst was I had just started running and COVID had happened and everybody was wearing masks outside on runs. I was one of those people. And I'm out running and I wanted to show up on social media so people could look for me. So I had to be cute. So I would go to the thrift store, get t-shirts and cut them up, and then I would match socks and I would tie dye the socks. And so I would take a picture like, hey, I just ran a mile. It was really huffing and puffing. It was nothing like spectacular. I would take the picture and I'm like, maybe somebody's going to look for me and that'll help me stay consistent because I was in the middle of my marriage was failing, COVID was happening, I had lost my income, and I was just a wreck. And I said, okay, I saw other people do this before. My sister in law has run a few marathons. Maybe I can get out here and do this. So I dressed up, take the picture, and then as I started looking at my pictures, I was like, those are not great socks. I mean, they homemade, right? I'm like, okay, let me check. And I went online and there were some companies out there and I bought some of their socks and hey, I can be an affiliate. And they were like, no, we don't want you. And I was like, oh. So then I really had this internal calling to bring socks to the marketplace. I remember specifically, it was the end of 2021. I called my best friend who lives in Chicago and I have been talking it up. And I said, it is December 30th. And I am so frustrated with myself because I know I'm supposed to do something with socks and I don't know how and I don't know where to get the socks. I don't know anything about products. And she goes, just start. And I was like, okay, okay. So then I went in my laundry room and I just started fiddling around with some tie-dye stuff and I just was like, okay, I did something. I did something. And then the next year, it was December 30th, and literally in January, things just started like opening doors. Like doors just started opening. I found out the manufacturer. I learned through trial and error how to get a manufacturer and design. It was literally me going, okay, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. And even to this day, it's been 4 years. And I think all business owners feel like, well, I should be, right? I had a
Yes.
moment earlier today.
Yes.
I'm like, hey, I should be doing these things. I should be. And I'm at a phase where I'm revamping a lot of what I started because I started and I'm looking at my warehouse right like all of my socks right now and I'm like why did you order those? It's and being in the space now, having being a runner, seeing what people buy, I go, ask them first before you order. And I think that's just part of being an entrepreneur, you know?
Yeah, I think I should be is absolutely a phrase that all entrepreneurs mutter under their breath to themselves on a regular basis because this episode will come out on June 16th. On June 14th, I've already recorded the video. We have an announcement of a new marketing partner coming out, and I'm super excited about it. And I can't wait to share this information with people publicly. Simultaneously, I'm like, I should be working with this other company that I sent a sales pitch out to, right? Like, why not celebrate the victory that I have in hand today instead of like worrying about the thing that isn't happening just yet? Like, why are we?
Be present today. I am embracing that more and more. And I have to remind myself over and over today is a good day. Like when my mom yesterday, I was telling you offline, my mom went into the hospital yesterday. She's 91. She lives in Chicago. I'm here in Georgia. And I was like, I can't do anything right now. So me and my 10-year-old, we sat down at the table and we painted. And I was present with him in that moment and that was a really big thing for me because that normally I am like this. "Oh, who can I call? Maybe I can get a flight." And I said
Yeah.
no. And I needed to celebrate that I was able to say, he doesn't know mom's in the hospital. He doesn't know granny's in the hospital. So at this moment, I'm going to paint with my son, and this is very cathartic for me. And it's on the refrigerator.
I
And
love
mom is
it.
doing
Right. So it's funny you mentioned that because so my wife, Lori, she just recently got her doctorate. She's putting her business shingle out right now as we're talking, basically. And we were having a conversation about the things that we cannot control. And so we were like, there are some operational things that she cannot control. She has to wait for somebody to respond to her. But the anxiousness of doing it is like right there, right? So it's funny how like I can tell her, be patient. Meanwhile, inside, I'm steamrolling through my own process to try to not be patient at the same time. And I wonder if you being an educator have been able to teach yourself patience a little bit faster than those entrepreneurs who are not educators because the belief is that speed, business moves at the speed of light. Whereas, in teaching people, that's just not the case. So do you think you have a little bit more patience because you're a teacher to work with yourself and have learned that over time?
I don't think so. I love that I bring patience because I am very patient when it comes to my students. Not so much my kids. It's weird. But I think this phase of my life, I'm 47, I'll be 48. I have learned the skill of grace versus grind, and I am not going to sacrifice sleep or mental health for any monetary value. And I think right, well, not just right now. Me and my best friend just had this conversation just before we got on here. In corporate, she works a corporate job. She's a director of human resources. I'm an entrepreneur and an educator. There's always people going and hustling and doing, and we got to do this and we got to do this. And I'm reading this book. It's called this Resistance is Sabbath or Sabbath is Resistance, something like that, where taking the moment to be present, taking the moment to celebrate the things that we've done. Like you've run so many races, I've run a couple marathons, and it's like, what's the next marathon? Well, what's the
Right.
next business product? And it's like, no, I need to say, wow, April, that was amazing. You ran London. Wow, let's just sit in that. And that's, I think, part of me in business, and I don't think I'll ever get to a place where, and I've had to grow here, where it's like, let's go, I'll sleep when I die. No, I'm gonna sleep tonight.
Yes.
Because customers are still gonna buy my socks. They're still gonna, I literally yesterday I saw somebody, they did the trifecta half marathons, the 3 marathons, and they had my socks on. And sometimes it blows my mind because I'm like, that was out of my brain. And I still need to sit in that. Because sometimes I say, is it good enough? I don't
Yeah.
know. And I think that goes for everybody. We're always second guessing ourselves.
I posted a reel at an hour before we got started here today, and like the moment I'm getting ready to press publish, I'm like racking my brains of like, I hope it does well, and like honestly, like what does well even mean, dude? Like what are you measuring it against, right? Like it'll be fine. People will like it or they won't like it. It's okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned the sit in it and celebrate and finding the next thing to do, and you conjured up this thought in my head. I wonder if we don't appreciate our accomplishments as much today as we did yesterday, because instead of gaining perspective and looking back on what we actually did accomplish, we're already turning that page and going forward to the next thing.
Yeah.
As an educator and a mom, specifically the mom part of it, how do you translate that to your kid? Because you said you don't have as much patience with him as you do your students, but are you helping him to understand that the moment you are in right now is the most important moment, not the moment that might happen tomorrow, a week from now, 10 years from now?
Yeah. I have 3 boys, one
Okay.
boy, 2 men, 28, 25, and 10.
Okay.
Same husband, okay? Same husband. You remarried? No. He trapped me. Um, and I've parented all 3 of them very differently. This kid, we just had the conversation yesterday because he wants everything. Social media shows you the squishy ball, the new this, the new that, and he goes, I gotta have it, I gotta have it. And so we've been talking about, dude, you got like 15 plushies and 5 squishy balls, and as soon as you get them, like you play with them for a day and then it's it. And so it is a struggle because everything around him is like, you gotta have the next thing. And I'm really trying to help myself live that out instead of saying it to him, hey, baby, no, you have enough. What you have is more than enough. When it comes to birthdays and Christmas, and I say, hey, what do you want? What do you want to put on your list? And you go, you have enough. And then
Right.
I have to be a model for him. You know, it doesn't matter what I say. If I'm constantly on this device and going, like, we're getting our deck done, I'm like, ooh, I could get a new couch and get rid of the one that I have. I have enough.
I remember growing up, my parents weren't well off, right? We did what we had to do to get by, and I had friends that were well off in comparison.
Yeah.
And I remember having a conversation with one of my friends back in the day. You know, I was 13 going on 50 all my whole life. And I said to him, I said, I don't think you understand the value of a dollar.
Mm,
And it's because of the lessons that I was learning from my parents, right? We lived in a one-bedroom apartment at one time, and now we had a house that had 3 bedrooms. Like, I mean, it was
wow.
probably April, it was probably like 700, 800 square feet, but I had my own bedroom, right?
Wow.
And it was like living in a mansion all of a sudden. And so I remember having that conversation. And so what you're talking about leads me to that scenario of you have enough. And
Yeah.
so you're teaching the value of a dollar. And so I will relay this to running for ourselves and
Mhm.
ask you, when you're looking at events, not necessarily the cost or the travel involved, but the training that has to go into it, the timing of it, because you have a school year that you have to work around, you have a 10-year-old son that you mentioned that you have to work around, you have a husband who has, if he works for Delta and has a job there that he has to work around, your business you have to work around. Like, are there races that you're like, I would love to do this, but it's just not my time right now, and I'll put it on the to-do list for future and come back to it?
2026 was that year. 2025, 24, 23. It was, let's pack out the calendar. Let's do all of the races that everybody puts on Facebook because this is what I see runners do. And I'm still not convinced that I'm a runner even 4 years in. In 2026, I went to we did spotting your year. What do they call those? The boards. Vision board
Oh,
party.
yeah.
A vision party. And so it was a running party where we had a bingo card and was all of the places and things that we wanted to do in 2026. And I sat there at that restaurant and I had New York City on there and I said that's the only one that I want to do. I don't there's nothing else that I want to do. And everybody else was putting all these things on there and I was like I'm not going to force something that right now like I just don't feel like I need to do. I have enough. Now, New York City, I wanted to do New York City and I put my name in the hat. There was a TCS teacher competition that I was certain I was going to get. Like over the top like I'm confident that I'm going to beat out whoever said I didn't get it. And for a moment I was like, "Oh, it's okay. It's just not meant to be this year." And I'm so glad because I don't the marathon training that I would be doing right now, I'm not feeling it. I'm just
Yeah.
not.
I think that's an important lesson for any of the new runners or new triathletes who are listening to this podcast. So I use this, and I'll rewind for a second. I use this phrase in my daily life. I am not for everyone, and everyone is not for me. And I think it also pertains to events. Like,
Yeah,
I am not going to be at every event, and not every event do I need to be at. And so I think when we take that approach, I think we value that finish line even more because
yeah,
that's the one we want to be at. We want to be there for ourselves. It's not for the social media post because we're going to post about it on social media anyway, but it just means so much more, right?
absolutely. I 100% agree. There are people, and I salute them, but it for me, I'm like, there's no way every Saturday I could run a 5K. There's no way every weekend. And then sometimes there's a Sunday event. And I feel, and this is for new triathletes or new runners, you have enough. And you don't need to prove anything to anyone on social media, off social media, and even to yourself. I think people try to prove that I am better than I was last year at this 5K. For what? You were younger.
Right.
Situation. I mean, maybe you had a kid and, now the kid is a year old. Everything is different.
Yeah.
So why are we, for me, I like to be the voice of reason to friends and people in the space that are brand new and say, you have enough. If you do want to do it, fantastic. Like people ask me, how do you know when you're ready for a marathon? How do you, like, what is it that I think you'll know, but make
Yeah,
sure
you
you're
will.
not listening to all of the other noise telling you have to run a marathon. Because some people, you don't ever, ever, ever have to do 26.2 miles and
Mm-mm.
think you're.
When I first started this company, we had a gentleman who is a cyclist, and I asked him if it would be okay if I interviewed him, and he said, "But I don't race." And I said, "I don't
Mm,
care. Like, like cool that you don't race. Like, I don't care. But you get on your bike on a very consistent basis." He was riding 4 to 5 days a week, and he was riding
wow.
20, 30 miles a day. Like he's putting in time in the saddle. And so I'm interested in your story for that reason. And I say this and I bring this up because no, you don't ever have to run a marathon to be considered a runner. You don't have to do an ultra. You don't have to run 250 miles. Like people are going to say, but Jason, you do. Yeah, because I like that. Like
Yeah.
I love the 100-mile distance and I love the multi-day events. Like I love doing that. I hated marathons after my last one in 2014, so much so that I never ran another one until this year. It took me 12 years to run a standalone
Well,
marathon because I absolutely hated the training.
mm,
I ran 8 100 milers. I ran a 250 miler. I ran 8 Ironman events between my last marathon and this marathon. I hated the training, right?
yeah.
The idea of going 0 to 60 and holding it for 26, like I just despised it. And so I just never went back to it. Didn't make me less of a runner, right? Like nobody sitting here listening to this episode or watching me is like, that dude's not a runner. He didn't run a marathon for 12 years. No, I did all these other things. Like, and it's
100 miles.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's wild how we get caught up in that. And I think it goes back to what you said earlier about the I shoulda when it comes to being an entrepreneur, right? And we do this comparison thing to ourselves, to others constantly.
Yeah.
That it's a detriment to our progress.
It
It is
is.
an absolute right. Like
Yeah.
so you are not running a marathon this year then.
No. No, I'm not.
So you have the half marathon in Montana coming up,
I have
and
that in
then
Montana. And then I have the Peachtree, which is a traditional race that I run every year here in Georgia in the 4th. And then we have, I think, I don't have anything until I go out to the trail. No, I have Charlotte. I have a Charlotte half in the fall. And then I go do my first time trail run out in Colorado that I'm
so
so
is
about.
oh so wait a minute. So you have a Montana? Is Montana a trail race?
No, Montana is
Okay,
Missoula on the pavement. Yeah.
on the road. So you have 2 road half marathons and a trail. Is it a half marathon in Colorado?
In no, it's 18 miles. So
18
what does
miles.
that mean? Yeah, 30 kilometers.
30K. 30K.
30.
Yeah.
It's
That's exciting.
exciting. And then I think I've got little things that I throw in there when I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been real light this year.
But that's it. Like that's it. To me, that's exciting to be able
Yeah.
to say, I'm going to be running in Missoula. I'm going to be running in Colorado. I'm going to be running in Georgia at this thing that I always do. And then obviously in Charlotte as well that you mentioned. Like, I think that's really exciting as opposed to Well, I can't tell you all the races because I don't remember the ones I'm registered for because I'm doing it every other week, right?
What do you gain when you go to a race? What do you gain when you go to a race? You registered for 15 races. You get there and it's all about pace. It's all about PRing. Like I see why leave your state? You know what I mean? Like if I'm leaving Georgia to go to Montana, you better believe I'm gonna be looking around. I'm gonna be stopping for some pictures. I'm gonna dance. I'm gonna talk to some people. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, because I think about this a lot, right? When I get older, because I want to be doing this stuff in my 60s and 70s and 80s, I want to be able to talk about the event that I was at and the people that were I met along the way, as opposed to, well, you'll have to go to run sign up to look at my results, or you'll have to go to Untrol sign up because I don't remember what I did.
Imagine. That is so. I will tell you this story. When I started running, we were training for whatever we were training for. It was COVID, and I'm just following along people in Facebook groups. So if Black Girls Run, we're doing something, I'm doing it too. And the group said, you know, guys, we should register for the Chicago Marathon. I'm like, that's my city. I'm born and raised. Yeah. Had no idea what it was to train for a marathon. I knew what a marathon was, but had no idea. So I end up training with these ladies. One of the ladies, very quiet, soft spoken. She's running and she's consistent. We get to, I think it was around 18 miles training week, and I'm running with her. We're running a race. She veers off the course, which is very weird. And that day I found out that she had a brain tumor, and she had always had a brain tumor. Hmm. Never mention it. She had been running consistently. She had been putting in the training, and something happened where that tumor was sitting on something, and it just caused her to get delirious. Well, after Chicago, we finished Chicago, she finished, she started deteriorating, and she eventually passed. And she was not a big talker. And I remember going to visit her as she got worse and she couldn't speak, and sitting by her bedside. And that's what I remember.
Yeah.
Not not that, wow, yes, Chicago was amazing. But I got a chance to train with this woman who, and she was brilliant. I didn't know until the funeral that she had graduated at 15, that she was this big time corporate leader. She never talked about any of this. It was all about running and how running brought her peace and how she wanted to run until she knew she was dying. We didn't know. And to be able to have the honor of training with her for her last marathon and then to go sit with her. I brought her a picture of us and she smiled. She goes, oh, because that's all she could say at that time.
Yeah.
That is what I feel like I wish everybody can get, from running. Running is not just
Well,
PRs and
here's the thing. If you had tried to tell me that story and she was fine and didn't get sick and didn't pass, and you were like, well, we ran this marathon and I'm going to make a number up in 5 hours, and our pace was X and the sun was shining, it would sound like every other running story.
Yeah.
But you have a story that circles running, and it's far more impactful to me. So now the next time I have somebody on this podcast or I'm talking to them in public out where in open spaces, and they bring something up, I'm gonna be like, I have a story for you. April Pullins was on my podcast and she told me this story about how she ran with this, right? Like that's what we should have in life. Like we should be taking the stories that we hear from each other and sharing that, as opposed to, well, I ran and it was a 9:30 pace and I finished in 4.5 hours and I got my medal. And it's like, cool, bruh. Next.
Right. For you. Absolutely.
Give me more. I want more.
Yeah. Like one of my girlfriends, she just ran the 7 continents. And I'm like, that's so amazing. Don't want to do that. Maybe. I think I would rather do that than the 50 states. 7
So I'm going to put you on
continents?
the spot.
Okay, okay.
What continent would you want to run the most? Let's say you couldn't do all 7. You could only do one. What's one
Oh,
that you would want to do the most?
that's so hard. Okay, I'll tell you, I feel obligated that I should say Africa, but I think I would want to do Antarctica.
Ooh, that's interesting.
I
Why?
know. Well, one, the girl, my friend, she ran it and it was really hard. And then she did a cold plunge in the ocean. And I was
Excuse
like,
me?
no, I know. And I'm a risk taker, and I
Yeah.
think that's different.
You
Antarctica
see?
is like runs in Antarctica.
And this is why you talk to people, because my first thought for myself was Europe, because recency bias. Lori and I were just in Switzerland, and I ran the streets of Paris, and I absolutely fell in love with Paris. And I was like, oh, the Paris Marathon, Europe, that would be easy, right? But then you said Africa, and I was like, oh, shoot, man, like Africa would be amazing. I would go to Ethiopia. Ethiopian food is one of my favorite cuisines. So give me whatever Ethiopian marathon there is or whatever there is there, just so I can go eat the cuisine before and after the race. And then you bring up Antarctica, and I'm like, well, maybe that would instead, because that sounds cool.
What? I know. It's just like, man, I definitely want to do Paris. I want to. That's one of my most favorite places to go. The architecture, everything about Paris.
Everything.
Um, I took French when I was in high school, and I thought we were gonna go. Me and my best friend were gonna marry some Parisian man. That never happened. So this thing with Paris.
When we went to Paris, we spent 3 or 4 days there, but we took the train from Vevey, Switzerland to Geneva, and then we flew from Geneva. No, we took the train from Geneva to Paris, and we got out and got a cab in Paris to take us to the hotel. And we had it was a black driver, a French black driver. And here's what's interesting. He said, I want to go to the US and I want to get, an IT job. He was a tech person, and he was in college, and he was driving a cab to make ends meet a little bit there. And here's what he said to us that I found super interesting. He said, I think I would be more accepted as a black man in the United States than I am in Paris, France.
Mm,
And that shook me, because obviously in this country, racism is rampant. And it shook me, and it made me realize, like, there are other people dealing with all kinds of stuff all across this globe that we know nothing about.
yeah.
Um, and he was such a gracious young man. Look, he may have been running up the tab on the cab for all I know, but he would drive us to, like, by the Louvre, and he's like, you got to stop here. And then he would take us and he's like, as we're making our way through the streets of Paris to get to the cab, but he was such a great educator in
Yeah.
teaching us about Paris in that short cab ride. But it did wake me up to the realities of the world, which is other people are living lives that you know
Yeah.
nothing about, and you need to talk to them so you can learn what it's like, so that you can be a better person for humans on this planet. And honestly, like, that's the feeling I get from you.
Yeah.
Like talking to you, you have put a smile on my face today. I said earlier in the intro, like, when I see your posts, they always make me smile every single time. And they also always make me think, because you post cerebrally, not not influencer
Yeah.
style, right? Like
I really have, sometimes I really have trouble with that. I think anybody on social media, influencer land, right? We have to figure out if we want to claim stake, and do we do what the trends say? You know what I mean? I have this
yeah.
conversation all the time, but no, I'm like, I'm gonna put out what I
Well,
think is best.
and here's what the thing is, I think it's really difficult, because I face it too, is we're entrepreneurs. So we're trying to grow our businesses, and tips and tricks will tell you do the trend, right? That's
Right.
going to get you exposure and it's going to do this, all these things for you. But if it doesn't feel natural, it's going
I'm
to
not
come
doing.
off that way.
I'm not. Uh, when I was doing some of my stuff for teaching, it was so much fun. It was. I was like, okay, I have to figure out a way to apply this to business because I was having fun and I didn't mind it. All the other stuff that I'm like, I don't want to do that. And I know this is what they say works and gets the views. And yes, I want an audience, but I don't want to do that. And I want to be authentic for my customers. So,
And I would say this without having done a survey of all your customers, I would guess that they would say that what they see on social media is what they're getting in the product that comes to them. Because you're designing these, you're making these decisions, you're working with a manufacturer to produce them in all of these different sizes and all of these different things. So there is a piece of you that goes out in every package to
yeah.
your customer, correct?
So easy to say, well, this trend is working with Pilates socks, or you know what I mean? This one is really hot right now. I refuse. I'm not chasing a trend. I'm not chasing money. I want people to enjoy wearing my socks, to feel like they're stronger in my socks. I want them to go like they do. They go to races and they wear them. They take pictures. They send them to me. Like, dude, that's awesome. That's
Now
cool.
yours,
Like,
and the socks are compression socks, so they're unisex. They're not just for women, correct?
oh, they're unisex. We're working on trying to get some more manly. Some of the guys are like, "Can you get some more?" I'm like, "All right." I mean, men were pink.
Nah. Look, I will send you a link to my picture of me running in a pink shirt so you could send it to those men and tell them, look, you can wear pink. As a matter of
Absolutely.
fact, just this past Sunday, I put up a post because we're going to be racing the San Francisco Marathon. And I have 4 designs up there around the Bay Area. So one is Valkyrie's theme, so it's purple and black. One is Warriors theme, so it's yellow and blue. One is Giants, orange and black. And one is 49ers, red and gold. And I asked the audience to vote to make a decision. And I've been leaning so heavily into the purple. Like this is not going to be a democracy when it's all said and done because I'm probably going purple even if they pick a different color. Okay, but like,
This is the
but like,
business owner. What do you like? True.
exactly. But like you can wear pink, you can wear purple. You don't have to wear the stodgy white, gray, and black all the time. And dark
Oh,
navy blue. It's
some
okay.
loveliness to your wardrobe. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you
But
have purple?
I do. I do like purple.
But do you have purple socks that I can purchase?
Do I have purple ones? I think I do. They actually say "Hell yeah." They're
Okay,
cruise
so
and they say,
I
"Hell
need I
yeah."
need the link. I need the link so I can place an order. We'll start making the move now.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, yeah.
What inspires you to come up with the designs? What inspires you to come up with the phrasing and the color schemes? Like, is it something that you see something one day and you go for it, or like, is there a planning process?
Yeah, and often when I'm running, that's my most inspired moments. I'm literally like my phone. I'm like, all right, keep a note of this. So I will. Right now, I'm thinking about like some categories. One big one that I have not acted on that I am. And you can keep me accountable to this. I want cultural socks that um, that have specific things specifically for people of color that we say all the time, that we know when we say it, we go, yes, girl, or auntie energy, or all of the things that we get. And for so long, I've been trying to appease people, and I'm like, oh, I don't know what they're going to think about that. Like, I have some socks that say Black Girl Power. I have some socks that have the fist. Somebody told me, they said, "Oh, be careful wearing those." And I was like, now I know
No.
I live in Georgia, we're turning it blue. Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm like, be careful. But sometimes that gets in me and I'm like, I don't want to offend anybody. And I'm at a point right now, I'm like, I'm a black woman and I have mostly black women customers. What the heck am I doing?
So I will tell you this. Growing up, and I've told this story many times, my parents moved us out of the Bronx and moved us to Rockland County in New York, which is predominantly white. And I was trying to figure out who I was. And
Hmm.
from that moment up until about 6 years ago, when I met my now wife, Lori, and she said to me, and she is white, blonde hair, and blue eye. She
Mm,
said to me, "You are Puerto Rican. You need to be Puerto Rican. And you need to tell people that you're Puerto Rican." And
mm,
from that day forward, right, I'm wearing a hat that says Puerto Rico.
uh,
7 or 8 years ago, not a chance, because I was worried, like
yeah,
you, about
yeah,
appeasing. And what I've learned in those 6 or 7 years since I've started being more open about being Puerto Rican is that the people who don't want to hear it have left. But the people who do need to hear it and want to hear it keep showing up in
yeah,
droves.
yeah,
And so I would say to you, get those socks that are like, what are you bringing to the cookout? Right? Like, get
yes,
those socks that say no raisins in the
yeah,
potato salad, right? Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
right? Because the people that want to see that will show up,
for
and the
sure.
people that don't want to purchase it will self-select themselves out. They will move on.
Yeah,
And I think you'll be, because I know that I am, more satisfied with my decision-making process. It's
ab-
far less stressful now because I'm like, I'm Puerto Rican. Here you go. And shout out to my guy Joey Huertas, who is a Puerto Rican, and he messaged me one day, like 2 or 3 months ago, and he's like, "Dude, I just love that you're always repping our flag." And I was like, Joey, I'm going to tell you, this was not the case 6 or 7 years ago, right?
wow.
And so it was really powerful to have another Puerto Rican tell me, dude, I love what you're doing. And
Yeah,
so I would almost put money on it that the people that are going to buy those socks are going to tell you, thank you.
yeah,
Thank you. And then they're going to start giving you ideas. What if you did
yeah,
this one instead? What about this phrase? What about this statement? Right. And
yeah.
all of a sudden, you'll see that growth that has probably been halted because I know we see it on this side because we weren't being our true selves. And now we are. And it's like, take
I
it or
love
leave it,
that.
pal.
You hold me accountable.
I
Okay.
will. I got you. Because
I
I'm
have
already
a
like, can we get some New Yorican socks with the Puerto Rican?
I have a big event that comes up every October, and the goal is to have at least 3 new designs that lend themselves to cultural socks. Yeah. So,
I think it would be amazing. I think about like Carnival in
yeah.
Brazil, which is obviously a pretense to Mardi Gras in New Orleans, and all of the vibrant colors that come with that. And then those colors typically represent our
Yeah.
BIPOC communities.
Absolutely.
And so I have zero doubt that if you start designing socks in those colors and then with the phrases that mean something to your community,
Yeah.
you will appeal to more people than trying to sort of toe the line, I guess, and trying to be um, not politicized. I guess I don't know if that's the right word, but
I have a customer. So I live in a rural-ish town in Georgia. I'm not in Atlanta. And I sent some socks to them and I was just like, and they're white. And I was like, oh, I hope they like them. And I don't do that with my black
right,
customers. Why
right,
do I do that?
yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to get a little bit more political here. I've already touched the third rail, so I'm happy to hold on to it. I think it's because of how we were raised in the
Mm,
United States, which
yeah.
is the media has portrayed the decision makers and the people who are spending money and where wealth lies is always typically a white family. So
Yes.
go to the TV, turn it on. Commercial you're going to see the majority of the time is a white family, right? You're very rarely going to see a black family or a Hispanic family, and it's coming around. It's happening,
Right.
but it's very, very slow. And so when you're growing up and you're going to college and you're learning the business and you're going to get into business, the conversations that you are typically having are not with people of color.
Right.
And it's why I love the thought and the phrase that representation matters, because it
Mhm.
does.
It does.
Um, I had a gentleman by the name of Robert Anthony on our podcast like 3 or 4 years ago. I knew that Robert was Puerto Rican. And so we have him on the show, we're talking, and he says to me, he's like, Jason, I'm a Puerto Rican kid from the Bronx. And when I tell you, April, that my face lit up like the ball on New Year's Day, and I was like, that's me, dude. I'm a Puerto Rican kid from the Bronx too. And like everything changed in that moment, right? Like there was a connection. And
Yeah.
so when people say representation matters, I get frustrated when it gets dismissed because you don't know the power behind that phrasing.
Yeah.
And what we do at Run Try Bike from day one has been to put forward everyday athletes, put
Mhm.
forward Black athletes, Hispanic athletes, queer athletes, female athletes, disabled athletes. And I will tell you this, April, for 6 years, I have had some horrible nights of sleep because I would always say to myself, have we put up enough Black athletes? Have we done enough queer athletes? Have we done right? It's all like, have we showcased enough of these
Yeah.
athletes, and worry about it, because I want people to feel safe when they come to our platform. I want them to feel supported when they come and talk to me. It's important to me because I know that the impact that this podcast episode is going to have on another Black female athlete. I know the
Yeah.
impact that this episode is going to have on a Black athlete, on a
Mhm.
female athlete, on an entrepreneur who's Black. Like it's going to have an impact. And my goal is to always build a bigger table so more people can come and hang out and tell stories and grow with us, right? And so by having you on the show, I get to learn more about you. I get to share your story, but I also know that what you talk about is going to impact. There's a domino effect to it, and I hope you understand that. Like, do you think that you understand that impact, not just on this episode, but for your own platform too?
I do. And I want to honor that impact more, because sometimes with the have I done enough? What is the next? If I can stop and go, how is this impacting the community? Then whatever I've done is enough. I don't have to look
Yeah,
to the next, right? I can look and take a what is it, not an analysis, but like just evaluate what I did good. Do I need to do more? Do I need to do less? You know what I mean? And just take that
yeah,
for what it is and move forward. I also want to mention, you were saying about the community that you serve, being a woman that is in menopause, like, is so different than
yes,
people even understand. Like, oh, menopause, and what guys often think, like, oh, she's going through the changes. Like, people have no idea, and I'm so grateful for social media for that point. It's become more in the front where people are talking about menopause. But for me, having to go through this without running, I don't know if I would have made it. Like, it literally was not just hot flashes. So if anybody's watching and they're like, well, it's brain fog. It is joints aching. It was anxiety that I thought,
Ty,
am I easy? Yeah. And nobody's talking about it. And if you were a person of color, oh, forget it. Because when I would go to the doctor, it was, oh, your labs are fine. You're fine. I'm not fine. I don't feel fine. I feel like myself. And I think this is such, thank you for having this platform for me to be able to say, hey, if this is something that you may be going through, or if you don't even know if this is something that you're going through, go have your labs pulled to see if you're even in perimenopause or menopause, because it makes a difference in how you run. Like you may think, man, why can't I hit these targets? What's wrong with me? Oh, I need to do more. Maybe you're in menopause.
I will tell you this. So if people go to runtrimag.com and type in perimenopause, we have so many articles about menopause and perimenopause written by coaches and athletes that it has given me a world of education beyond anything I could ever have imagined. And I also I do some marketing services for a few clients, and one of my clients is a endurance sports coach who specializes in menopausal and perimenopausal women. So she'll send me a blog post, and to do my job, I have to read it. And the education goes far beyond the nonsense that we've been shown on TV about, oh, she's just going through it. And it's like, my goodness, people, it's far more than that. And it gives me the opportunity to have empathy.
Yes.
Because I wouldn't know anything about it because I don't go through it.
Right.
And here's what I will also add to this. And I'd be fascinated to know if you have had this conversation with your husband. There have been moments where I have looked at my wife and I've said, this has got to be a hormonal time of the month for me. Like, I feel more emotional right now, or my joints are hurting, and I'm 52. I'm like, my joints are hurting, and like, I didn't do a really tough workout. So like, and so like, men clearly go through hormonal changes as well, right? We're not robots. We're not made with wires and plastic. Has your husband ever said things like this to you, and you're like, I wonder if this man knows he's going through some stuff too?
My husband is so not vocal. So when he's like, I'm fine, I'm fine.
Show him this episode.
I know. He went out for a walk with me the other day, and that was a treat, because he's like, why do we have to walk? That's my love language, and I think it's healthy. Yeah.
April, thank you so much for being on the show. I want to be respectful of your time. We've just passed the hour mark. I do have a handful of food questions that I love to ask my guests, because I believe food is a great way to find out a lot about a person, their likes, their dislikes, and I think we can get a lot of personality out of them. So are you open to these questions?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Awesome. I am a huge Oreo fan. I've been trying to get Oreo as a sponsor for so many years now. I actually have a package of Japanese chocolate Oreos in my living room behind me that I can't wait to get after when the show ends. But when it comes to Oreos, are you a fan of the original, the double stuff, the thins, or what is now, what I believe, and maybe this is why I don't have a sponsorship, a monstrosity called the Cakester?
The truth, I don't really love Oreos.
Which is fine.
I would choose the thin lemon Oreos. I love lemon.
So I will tell you this, I'm a huge lemon fan too. I mean, if it makes me pucker, sign me up. But I remember, like, when I first saw the thins, I was like, why would you eat that? Come on. But they are really good. Like, I think you get more flavor because you don't have as much cookies. So the cream part, like the mint is fantastic, the tiramisu is fantastic. Like, it comes out stronger. So I'm a convert to the thin. So I'm with you on that. Favorite flavor of ice cream is?
Oh, lately my favorite flavor is this. It's like a blueberry. I don't even know the name of it. It's like a blueberry with dark chocolate.
Oh,
And it's from our local ice cream shop. So it's not like go to the grocery store. I want them to
yeah.
scoop it out. And I don't like dark chocolate, but this combination of the blueberry and the dark chocolate, get it every time.
So when we were in Switzerland, we went to Collier Chocolate Factory, and they had a dark chocolate bar with dried blueberries and hazelnuts. And the restraint I had to put on myself to not eat this block of chocolate in like 10 seconds, it was so fantastic. So I can only imagine that this ice cream must be heavenly.
Yeah.
Favorite flavor of pie, favorite type of pie?
I like a good sweet potato pie. Do not give me pumpkin pie. You are not invited if you bring a pumpkin pie. Sweet potato pie all day.
All year round or just around the holidays?
Oh, all year round. Now, other people might say just Thanksgiving. Nope. If I find one in the grocery, I don't cook. So normally I would cook it if I find it in the grocery store, like Patty LaBelle has this patty pies, these tiny ones.
Yeah. Favorite type of non-chocolate candy is?
Twizzlers. They've been my fuel too on my runs.
Better than red vines?
Oh, I love red vines. Red vines are soft.
Yes.
I love them both. I think for different reasons.
When we were at the Pittsburgh Marathon, they handed me like the small packet Twizzlers, and I was like, "Oh, cool! I need something." And it was like chewing rocks. I was like, "I can't, like, who's doing this?" I had to like.
Been open for 2 days. Yeah, no. That's when you needed the right things.
Your favorite chocolate candy is?
I love all things chocolate. So probably a white chocolate candy bar. Oh, maybe okay, white chocolate Reese's. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's a good call. I'm down with that. You don't cook, you said, but when you get invited to the cookout, what are you bringing? Even if you got to go to the grocery store, what are you bringing?
Cook some things though. Okay.
Okay.
So I can bring the mac and cheese, lasagna,
All right.
pancakes.
I want to see your face when I tell you this. I told you I'm 52 years old. I have
Mm.
never had macaroni and cheese in my life.
Why? Why?
I will tell you why. As a kid, my mother would serve us pasta, red sauce, with
Okay.
a glass of milk. And that combination just always didn't work for me. And so as I've gotten older, when I have seen like dairy in pasta, I've always been like, no, I'm not doing it. And I know they're totally different things. They're not even close to being the same. I eat pizza, which has cheese and red sauce. Like I got it. It's weird. But that visual, that connection in my brain from being like a 6-year-old being forced to drink a glass of milk and eat spaghetti has never left.
Well, can you at least try maybe one
I'll
day?
do my best. I'll do my best. Maybe if I come to the Peachtree Road races, we can hang out and I can take a spoonful of the macaroni and
So
cheese.
it's like my son, "Mom, you have to eat some of these eggs." I'm like, I don't like eggs. He goes, just please. If you don't try it, you'll never know. I'm like, I know. I don't.
You mentioned pancakes. How are you dressing up your pancakes? Straight syrup, chocolate chips? What are you doing?
Blueberries, chocolate chips, and if I'm in Hawaii, you better give me those Hawaiian pancakes with the coconut and the
Macadamia
apple.
nuts.
Oh my God. So, so, yeah.
This is a non. Well, I'll make it a food question. Best meal you have ever eaten while traveling?
I would say Greece. And it's weird because I'm not a foodie. Greece, the salads, the I the salads are unworldly. They don't compare to any iceberg lettuce here. I guess that's why I don't really like salads here. Oh my gosh, it's a full meal in Greece.
Yeah.
And I'll say the lasagna in Florence. Whew. Oh my god, amazing.
That's awesome. Okay, last one for you. A tray of brownies. You said you love chocolate, so this should be a good question. A tray of brownies has come out of the oven. It has sat on the counter long enough that you can cut it without making a total mess of it. Where are you going? Corner piece, edge piece, or middle for the ooey gooey?
Give me the corner piece with some vanilla ice cream.
Okay,
Yeah.
straight up. Are you a person who puts nuts on their brownies or no nuts?
Yep, give me the nuts. Yeah.
Nuts, ice cream, vanilla, specifically vanilla ice cream.
Yeah. Yeah. For the brownie. Yeah, for the brownie. Otherwise, I'm not a vanilla ice cream person. But for the brownie, yeah.
But that combo is so good.
Yeah. It's class. It's like a beer sundae.
Yes,
The
100%. April, thank you so much for joining us. We'll put your Instagram page and your company's Instagram page on the show notes. And you owe me a link so I can buy the purple socks for my outfit for the San Francisco Marathon. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Jason. It was fun.
We'll see you. For those of you that hung around with April and I for the last hour or so, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Make sure you check out her compression socks, Be Light Compression. It's in the show notes on Instagram. Will be there. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network, wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. Come back next week where we'll have another great guest with another fun conversation, and we'll figure out when they're traveling, what's the best meal that they've eaten in that country. Have a great one, everybody.